Hi everyone, welcome back, and just wanted to show how I'm building my Halo Reach EOD helmet. Thank you to those who put input on what helmet I should do next, and I'm going to be basing off my build off this armor coating I got on Master Chief Collection. Starting off with the prints, it did take a few days to complete them. You could see here, this one took 16 hours, and then this one as well took a day and 17. For the dome, a lot of the other parts took just as long, and it wasn't all perfect. I did have a couple of print fails, especially on the longer pieces, due to filament running out or layer shifting. For here, per usual, I'm adding my filler primer, like I did for the commando helmet. I did do one mistake. I wanted to see if I could just spray it on the raw 3D print before sanding it with that high grit sandpaper. The print seemed porous itself, but you'll see later in the video what happened after I applied the Bondo. Although I did have one mishap, the print did take filler primer pretty good throughout the rest of it. You could see here how it just soaks it in, especially in the places that there is a lot of ridges or lines, and it is the beginning of the process before I start doing the Bondo like I'm doing here, which is just putting it over all the prints. I might have done a bit excessive, but I'd rather just put it all on to fill the print lines versus having to do so much coats of that filler primer. If you find yourself doing this for your prints, I would definitely recommend wearing a mask, as well as getting some disposable gloves. Here I'm using some nitrile gloves. I would use these versus the latex ones you could find at about any store, just because the latex, they sweat a lot more than nitriles, and then these ones don't break down as easy when applying the Bondo. Over time it will become crusty with how much Bondo you're putting. So occasionally, like you might see me here, I switch them out to another pair just to get a smoother application when doing the spot putty. Again, this is my method on how I'm doing my helmets. There's probably 100 or more different ways you could go about this, so feel free to experiment if you like. You might find your own solutions, also your own problems with going about it, but it's a learning process and it's a good way to just get your hands dirty. So with the Bondo dried, I'm sanding them down with 120 grit. This smooths the surface of the Bondo, but doesn't take it off completely where I would have to reapply more Bondo or more filler primer than what's needed. And here I'm trying to get in between the ridges with the foam pad that came with the detail sander, and what this does, it softens the abrasiveness of the sandpaper so it doesn't eat away Bondo so quickly. It allows me to get into those crevices that are a bit tougher to get, like the accent pieces here, as well as getting a good curve. When applying the Bondo, when sanding, I had to make sure to wear a respirator. You could see on the footage how much dust is coming off, and in person it is a lot more, and it does get on your clothes fairly easy. So I would make sure you get a work apron or just wear some clothes that you don't mind if they get a lot of dust or too dirty. An air gun too from a compressor does help get rid of a lot of it. So you can see right here the problem I was talking about earlier. Without sanding the print like I did before to prep before putting the spray primer, it started to flake on part of the helmet, and I checked the rest of it and it stayed on pretty good, but it was just that one piece that was pretty smooth when it came off the print bed, which ended up causing that paint to flake. So this right here is actually my second coat of filler primer that is going on top of the Bondo, and it came out a lot smoother than the first coat just because those print lines are now smooth and it is laying out a lot nicer. I think especially with the EOD helmet, you have to make sure you clean those edges and sand as good as you can to make all those unique features that make the EOD helmet what it is more prominent. So all there is left to do is sand the helmet with 400 grit sandpaper after the last coat of filler primer has dried. This part goes pretty quickly since the helmet at this point is pretty smooth with the last couple of rounds we went at it wood sanding. And yeah, that's about it for at least the prep part of the EOD helmet. And at this point of putting the video together, the helmet is about complete. I just have some fine details to do. And once that's finished, I'll be sure to put together a video showing how I do the detailing, as well as a clear coat on top of the helmet to add to the finished look. Thank you for those who have been following along and commenting on the post. I try to get these videos out as quick as I can, but there is just a lot of prints I gotta finish, as well as a lot of footage I need to record. It's exciting seeing these helmets come to life. So yeah, if you enjoy this, please let me know in the comments, as well as what helmets or armor pieces you'd like to see. I have a suit I'm trying to put together to show you probably in the next couple of weeks. But until then, thank you, and I'll see you on the next video.